Here it is again, slowed down. As Beyonce sits down with Molly Meldrum, her dress folds.
The Jay Z victims are going to be worse. They're worse because of the psychological torture that comes along with what he does.
Why did God give me this life? Sometimes it's overwhelming.
Here it is again, slowed down. As Beyonce sits down with Molly Meldrum, her dress folds. That crease caused a worldwide controversy.
But ever since her recent interview on Sunday Night HD, there's been a whole new wave of people saying what must have been a fake baby bump visually collapsed as she sat down. I admit, that did look weird, but maybe it was a weird camera angle. Or maybe she wears extra padding to keep her due date a secret.
Because of the way that Beyonce's belly folded when she sat down, many believed that there was no way that that was a real baby bump. There was so much speculation about this situation that even Wendy Williams did an experiment with her audience to see if other pregnant women's bellies folded like that when they sat down.
Beyonce recently, like last Sunday, appeared on an Australian show. And when she sat down, the baby bump squashed, bent, and crumpled.
The reason that I bring this up though is because if Beyonce and Jay Z were having a baby via a surrogate, it would be a little odd to announce that they were physically with child, unless the House of Carter was trying to cause a massive media PR frenzy to take all of the media attention away from the woman who was just recently alleged in the press to be Jay Z's mistress, mysteriously passing away. Well, obviously that is just speculation and maybe a little bit of conspiracy, but if it was their intention to take the media attention off of anyone potentially running a story about Jay Z's mistress passing away, it most certainly worked, because the media and the press were completely zeroed in on Beyonce and Jay Z's pregnancy from the moment it was announced to the moment that Blue Ivy made her arrival. And at least I know, I personally never even heard about Cathy White until this whole P. Diddy stuff started flipping everything on its head.
Beyonce couldn't get pregnant. Not naturally, not normally. What I do know is this. When Beyonce got on that stage with that fake baby bump,
Oh yeah.
it was lined up with the same timing of where Cathy White would have been in her second trimester. And when we all watched her get on TV with that fake pregnancy belly that folded over,
Yep.
she sat down, the timeline of when she delivered Blue Ivy lines up almost perfect with the timeline of when Cathy White would have delivered.
Wow.
We all know that Blue Ivy came from a surrogate. They shut that hospital down like a president had just been. And parents who had just had children themselves weren't even allowed to see their own kids for 24 hours.
They bounced my family off the 6th floor and from the waiting room and made them go downstairs and get her.
There's a lot of us that are coming together to deal with this issue. This is not by any means just us.
Because of the security that was locking that whole thing down.
$1.3 million is alleged that Beyonce and Jay Z, the Carters, paid this hospital to have the right to have their baby there in complete secrecy and privacy.
Okay, so the surrogate was carried out and no one heard her speak a word.
Do you think the Carters will speak about any of this at all? Do you just feel that they'll make any statement about what's going on?
Beyonce is losing hundreds of thousands, millions of followers every day. And she still hasn't said anything. Just pretending like life is great in Paris.
Is it her place to say something?
I mean, probably not, considering she's gonna be indicted for anything she would say. These are criminals. Diddy is a dealer, and so is Jay Z. The proof is there.
The article that was published in 2010 included details of a wild night out in Las Vegas with Jay Z, P. Diddy, Cathy White, and a model named Claudia Jordan. Their evening was said to be filled with gambling, clubbing, drinking, and a lot of PDA. We know Beyonce and Jay Z had been married since 2008, but Beyonce was nowhere to be seen at this evening out. Once this article, along with damning photographs, were released, an editor over at Star Magazine reached out to Cathy White to try to get her side of the story. This former editor over at Star Magazine's name is Liz Crockett. Liz was writing an article looking into some of the controversy surrounding Jay Z, his history of cheating and shady behaviors, and she was building a timeline, and she really wanted to hear what Cathy had to say about their alleged relationship. And Liz reached out to Cathy White to hear her side of the story. Cathy White denied even knowing Jay Z. Once Liz was able to produce photographic evidence, Cathy agreed to consider coming forward and sharing her side of the story. A few days after this initial conversation, Liz had not heard anything back from Cathy White, allegedly. This prompted her to give Cathy White's PR firm a call. Liz was able to reach one of Cathy's employees at her PR firm, and this employee allegedly shared that Cathy White had passed away suddenly and unexpectedly. When this editor from Star Magazine found out that Cathy White had suddenly passed away, she was completely shocked and immediately wondered if this was not a coincidence. Sources close to Cathy were able to divulge that Cathy had gone to Jay Z to let him know that she was considering coming forward and sharing her side of the story and her truth of what has been going on between the two of them. Within days of Jay Z allegedly learning that his alleged mistress was going to come forward and expose their ongoing affair, on August 28th of 2011, Beyonce and Jay Z announced that they were pregnant with their first child. And they announced this at the VMAs. On September 1st of 2011, just days after Jay Z and Beyonce had announced that they were pregnant, Cathy White would no longer be alive. There are conflicting reports on the state in which Cathy White was found on that very tragic day. Some sources say she was found unresponsive in her New York apartment, while other sources say that there was a 911 call that came from Cathy's apartment. And when paramedics arrived, they took Cathy White to the hospital because she was extremely ill and then was later pronounced unalive in the hospital. Cathy White's autopsy and toxicology were never released to the public, but ultimately the manner in which Cathy passed was ruled to have been caused by a brain aneurysm. It was also heavily speculated that Cathy White was pregnant with Jay Z's child at the time of her passing, but with the autopsy never being released, it's not possible for us to confirm that information. If this woman was pregnant, that just makes everything that much more tragic, but I just was not able to find definitive proof or confirmation of this detail, so I will just leave it at that. With Cathy being such a young and healthy woman, it is very shocking to hear that this was the way that she passed. This editor at Star Magazine, Liz, continued to dig into this situation despite the fact that Cathy had passed away and despite the fact that her boss urged her not to continue looking into the situation. While doing her research, Liz allegedly discovered that Jay Z, the self-proclaimed king of New York, has many NYPD officials in his back pocket. Liz also allegedly discovered that there was a decent amount of coroners in New York City who were willing to rule a very obvious suspicious passing or unaliving as a natural passing for the right amount of cash. Another interesting aspect when put into perspective of the reignition of this controversy and the mysterious passing of Cathy White, it makes you pause a little bit when you listen to the lyrics. At the end of the day, there is a lot of speculation and rumors surrounding the situation, and it is really hard to decipher between what is fact and conspiracy sometimes. We know that Jay Z has a very close relationship with P. Diddy, who has a reputation for taking out anyone who gets in his way, who is a liability, or who he is jealous of. So I guess I wouldn't really say that it's a stretch to think or question whether Jay Z could have potentially had a hand in Cathy White's passing, especially with the reputation that one of his best friends, Diddy, has. So that is the gist of the Cathy White situation and some of the rumors and speculations surrounding the Cathy White situation. Ultimately, at the end of the day, this is a tragedy. A young woman lost her life way too early. And it is very concerning that this woman had a connection to Jay Z and was ready to go public about their relationship, and mysteriously she passes away before she has the opportunity.
Another crazy instance that I think about is Jay Z and Blue Cantrell, and Diddy was obviously in this photo as well, but he is cut out, but he's right there next to Kim Porter. Now, it was rumored that Jay Z and Blue Cantrell had an affair going on while he was dating Beyonce. Blue Cantrell actually did an interview with Wendy Williams where she talked about sleeping with Jay Z, and then shortly after that interview released, Blue Cantrell was hospitalized after ranting that she was poisoned on the streets. Blue Cantrell went running through the streets, ranting about people trying to unalive her until police took her into custody for a physical evaluation. Blue Cantrell was running around the streets screaming that somebody was trying to unalive her by giving her poisonous gas.
Jay Z. Oh my God! I heard he's hung like a horse, Blue. Oh my God! Beyonce. She really have him locked down. I think so. I think they're in love. I think they're in love. It's politics speaking. No, I really do think they're in love. I have a big crush on him, though. I'll tell you that much. I still have a crush on him. No, I didn't. No, I'm really selective about it. What? Really. I really like him, though. And I don't care who he's dating. I always had a crush on him, though. If he came in right now and we were all not here. What? I'm just saying, you're in New York. Yeah, okay, and what? If you ran into him and everything was right, would you make that play? I wouldn't turn it down. Let's just put it that way.
Other mistress that has a love child with Jay Z, allegedly. I didn't work on that story, but the reporters that did reported that, she was paid very well to basically shut up and not say anything bad about them and not acknowledge that she had an affair or this is Jay Z's kid or whatever.
Because it would devalue Beyonce.
Well, that's what and that's what I'm about to get to, is that back then it's like, he has all these mistresses, but like, why would he murder Cathy? I mean, he has a bunch, right? You can't murder all your mistresses. And like, what would be the incentive? When I first started just calling her, telling her I wanted to interview her, what I didn't realize at the time is that Beyonce was pregnant. The news had not broken yet.
We can't have a mistress and Beyonce.
So, and I also didn't realize that they were crafting one of the biggest publicity stunts to announce Beyonce's pregnancy on stage at the VMAs. When she did her performance at the very end, she turned, oh look, oh my God, she's a baby bump, she's pregnant. Like, no, I didn't even know. And I was like working in the business, I did not know she was pregnant. That's a big deal for a celebrity, because that's going to get you like great press for the next 2 years, right? Oh, like getting ready for baby, and we did tons
but a
of baby
mistress
covers.
Coming out,
so
that's possibly pregnant.
That's the thing.
Talk about it, Liz.
So that's the thing. But there are reports that she was found after the VMA performance, but I'm pretty sure that I knew she was dead before Beyonce announced that she was pregnant. Now it was 15 years ago. I could have that wrong, but I do remember thinking, why would there be a major motive to murder this mistress? Yes, if she's gonna give me an exclusive on the record, that's a huge problem.
Songs like Run This Town.
We are, yeah, I said it, we are. This is Rock Nation, pledge your allegiance.
His attorneys have denied everything about Jane Doe's account and pointed to some alleged inconsistencies in her story.
It's not just that this story is a lie and that it's not true. It's provably, demonstrably false. This never happened.
The judge writing that while Jane Doe can remain anonymous for now, she may be required to reveal her identity at a later date to allow Jay Z's lawyers to collect facts necessary to prepare for trial.
Oftentimes, when someone is accused of a crime like this, the accuser doesn't want to be named, and if they are forced to be named, we have seen certain people decide to drop the lawsuit altogether.
Morgan Norwood, thank you. And Tony Busby, the lawyer representing Jay Z and Diddy's accusers, says in a statement to ABC News, quote, "I will say that the coordinated and desperate efforts to attack me as counsel for alleged victims are falling flat. We won't be bullied or intimidated." And we did reach out to Jay Z and his team, but did not get a response.